Hi there, are you pregnant? Here are 5 things you need to remember. Number 1, eat a variety of foods from all the 6 Zambian food groups, and I mean real food. Number 2, avoid eating non-food items, things like sand, things like ice, or whatever else that you are craving during this time. It could actually be a sign that you are deficient in a number of nutrients. So instead of eating non-food items, go to the hospital, find out what you're deficient in. 3, supplementation. Yes, you may be eating enough of other foods, but supplementation during pregnancy is still very important. Preferably, take a multivitamin supplement, or what is offered at the public health facility, which is iron and folic acid, will still suffice. Number 4, I know nausea and vomiting is something that you may be going through, but it is manageable. Eat slowly, small meals during the day. Snack on hard foods like popcorn, like carrots, like cucumber, and also a bit of lemon. Avoid oily foods as well to manage the nausea and vomiting. And number 5, exercise. Simply because you're pregnant does not mean you need to now sit and be a couch potato, right? You can still do a few things. Walk a lot, you can swim, dance a lot. All these are simple things that you can do in the comfort of your home. And also gardening and light chores around the house to keep yourself active and keep diseases like diabetes and hypertension at bay. Give your child a great foundation. Check out the breastfeeding video I did and learn more. And today, like I promised, we are looking at the life cycle approach, and now we are looking at babies or children after the age of 6 months. Maybe let's say 6 months to about 5 years, right? So what happens? Why we say that we need to now give additional foods after 6 months is because breast milk is no longer sufficient. Not that it's not important. No. Mark my words correctly. It is no longer sufficient, meaning you need to complement it. We no longer talk about weaning. Weaning is when you actually cut the baby off the breast completely, but we talk about complementing the breast milk, meaning adding to the breast milk. But also because iron, which is a nutrient, is no longer sufficient. Breast milk doesn't have much iron. Their iron stores that they had when they were born is starting to become depleted by this age, and so you need to add in iron-rich foods as well in addition to breast milk. So from 6 months to about 8 months, let me say 6, 7, and 8 months, breast milk becomes the main meal, and then the additional food becomes the snack. The reason why that is important is that you want to gradually introduce additional foods to them and not immediately they start eating shima, for example, like the rest of the family. That can cause a number of complications, one of them being constipation, diarrhea as well, because mind you now, breast milk is sterile, it has no infections or whatever. Now they have to be given other foods prepared with maybe water that may be contaminated, and their stomachs are still sensitive, and so you want to introduce additional foods gradually so that you do not rush them. So how do you get started then? Imagine it's the first day of your child's first spoon of whatever you have prepared, and preferably I hope it is nothing sweet. So in the 6th and 7th month, you want to give mainly cereal, preferably a cereal that also has protein, what we call HEPs, right? High energy protein cereal. And there are so many on the market. You can also create your own at home. Maybe something which has a cereal grain like maize, or it can have a bit of millet with something else which is high in protein like groundnuts, soya beans as well. That combination makes it high energy as well as high protein, because protein is what we call macronutrient that is needed to prevent stunted growth or retarded growth. So do not ignore and do not just give maize meal porridge, for example. In a number of instances, I've seen situations where a baby is given nothing but maize meal porridge. Now in a maize meal porridge, you have a refined, meaning breakfast meal. You take breakfast meal, mwapanga porridge, wino, mwampera fyomwana salt. That is not sufficient. It is not going to allow your baby to grow. It is energy with nothing else, and that is not acceptable. And from statistics, we are beginning to see that majority of children are given unhealthy foods, and this information comes courtesy of the National Food and Nutrition Commission and partners, who did a study and found that 77% of children between the age of 6 months and 23 months, meaning from 6 months to about 2 years old, are consuming unhealthy foods. And when we say healthy foods, you may wonder, okay, what is healthy? What is unhealthy? Unhealthy food will be food that probably just gives you energy and nothing else. Basically, there's no vitamin A, there's no iron, or very little of them to talk about. So like the example I've given of just maize meal with salt, that is not a healthy meal. That is just energy. And so you want to couple it with something which is high in protein, like groundnuts, like soya, that becomes your base. So what else do you give? On top of groundnuts or soya as a protein source, you also want to add in animal source foods like crushed kapenta of your choice. There are so many small fishes around this: kapenta, kakea, chisense, and whatever you have at home available. You can roast it for a while in a pan, and then when it's cooled, you crush it in a mortar, akabende. You crush it a bit and then add the powder to the porridge. It actually enriches the baby's food. Another thing you can add are vegetables. And again, from the same study done, which is called the Food Consumption and Micronutrient Status Survey study, it showed that again 23% of urban children are being introduced to sweetened beverages. The taste buds of a child in this period are very sensitive. You want to firstly start with what we call the bland flavors, things that don't really have a strong taste, especially not a sweet strong taste, because you then build their affinity for sweet foods. So things like maybe even lemon juice, vegetables as well. And there are so many vegetables that you have that you can give babies. Of course, vegetables like rape, which have those stalks, may not be appropriate because they are difficult to crush, but think of kalembula, think of bondwe, think of lumanda, think of spinach, think of chihuahua as well, if really cooked and mashed well. These are vegetables or soft vegetables that you can easily add to a child's porridge, or even just mash or puree them and give your baby. In these 6-7 months, that's what you need to be giving. Of course, after you've breastfed. So your baby wakes up, you attach the baby to the breast, they feed until they are full. And then now you can take a spoon of, let's say, mashed spinach and give them, right? You start introducing them, and be patient at this stage. You do not want to rush them. They are still trying to learn. Oh, what is this? Why does it taste like this? Oh, this is nice. Oh, I preferred that one and not that one. That is what is happening in your beautiful baby's brain as they are being introduced to these additional foods. Even a spoon a day, 1 to 3 teaspoons a day, and you build up like that. Also, watch their stool in this time, because mind you, they've been used to just passing stool easily, especially if you are breastfeeding. But then now that you are giving additional foods, the stool starts to become a bit hard. Now, you do not want it too hard that the baby finds it difficult to defecate. That can cause a lot of pain. They don't have that energy to push it down. So watch the stool as well. If you see it becoming too hard, focus more on breastfeeding, and then you give again a spoon or two, and then breastfeed just like that until their stomach, you'll be able to tell that now they are ready to get a little bit more. They'll be grabbing your hand when you are eating so that they get more food. In a nutshell, that is how to start feeding your baby. Cooking takes time. Cooking takes a lot of energy. Cooking may delay the baby from eating. So you may also want to have instant porridges available to you. And there are a number of them. I looked at them. My biggest concern was the fiber content as well as preservatives, because evidence is showing that a child under 1 year, preservatives are quite dangerous to them. And so I tried to look around for what is available. I'm quite impressed. I would like to also appreciate businesses out there that are providing these baby foods. I did not see preservatives. Actually, most of them were saying preservatives free. For example, Cerelac, Purity, Delight Porridge as well. There are also a number of Zambian small businesses that are also providing these instant porridges. For example, there's Power, Umoyo, that has produced quite a number of good foods, Silver Food Solutions, too numerous to mention, but you can go out there and actually choose which is best for you. If you see one with preservatives, I would rather you avoid. Most of them are fortified. I saw that, for example, Delight are fortified with a number of minerals, which is a good thing, meaning they have additional minerals to them and vitamins as well, which is needed for your baby to grow well. But the only challenge I have with these store-bought or commercial baby foods is the fact that parents and guardians or caregivers of children out there may compromise on the preparation. They'll tell you, for example, for a child, maybe say 6 months when you're just starting out, give, for example, lack of a better example, maybe say 50 grams. but then you over dilute, and the fact that you over dilute and you do not follow what is given to you. And sometimes also, because you hear me say these products are okay to give, you see parents give only that. It becomes now the main food of the baby, day in, day out. No, you need to still give a variety of foods. One thing I also want you to know, the stomach of a 1-year-old baby is fairly small. It's about this much, about half a cup. Now, if you're going to let your baby sit the whole day without anything, and then you want them to have breakfast, lunch, and supper, that becomes a challenge, meaning they are not getting, you're the one who is eating enough, not the baby. Your stomach is much larger than this. It can keep food for a long period of time. But for a child, you find that every 2-3 hours, there needs to be given something. Water as well can be given, but you have to make sure that the water is safe for consumption. But breast milk is the primary source of fluid. And a baby or a child at that age, around 6 months, they need about 70-90 mils of fluids per kilogram of their body weight. And how you will know then that your child is growing well is to check the weight. So under 5 clinics are very important. By age of 6 months, the child's weight should have doubled, at least. So let's say your child is born at 3 kgs. By 6 months, the child should weigh about 6 kgs. And by 1 year, that weight should have tripled. Meaning by 1 year, they should be around 9-10 kgs. And that's how you know that, okay, my baby is eating enough and also growing well. One thing that I want you to avoid though, especially for children under the age of 1 year, you need to avoid honey. Honey is not good for babies under 1 year because honey contains bacteria that the baby under 1 year is not ready to handle. This bacteria can cause a lot of complications in the baby, and you do not want to do that. I know we talk about healthy eating here, and honey is one thing that I have shared with you and openly told you that it is better than sugar actually, but not for babies under the age of 1. You want to introduce honey way after the age of 1, maybe close to 2 years, where you can maybe put honey on toast and have the baby eat it, but not under the age of 1 year because the child is not ready for that. Another thing I want you to consider is how thick the porridge is when you are feeding young babies. At this age, children tend to be a bit fussy when eating. It's not every child that has a huge appetite, and so you want to make sure that every spoon of food that is given to the baby is actually nutrient dense, nothing runny. So let me demonstrate to you how thick the porridge should be. So here I have a sample of instant porridge. Like I said, instant porridges are good, of course, if you're introducing them well, and also that you check that there are no preservatives, no salt added to it, no sugar added to it. If you make porridge and it is this watery, it is not supposed to pour out like this. You want to make sure that every spoon that you raise to give your baby holds, meaning the porridge should be able to stay on the spoon and not pouring out like this. So this is poorly made porridge. It is too light, meaning the baby will be getting quite alright something, but it will not be energy dense. It will also not be nutrient dense. Imagine namubikamo kapentomu, namubikamo limbika egg, namubikamo even vegetable, kwati spinach, mwachita crush mwabikamo, but then find that the spoon, the porridge is too light, that it is not sitting on the spoon. This is too light. This is too light because babies' stomachs, remember I told you they are small. A baby's stomach is about 200 mils by 1 year of age. We need, as parents and guardians, to make sure that the porridge is thick enough to give them energy as well as nutrients. So let me now show you how porridge should be made. So when I'm giving my baby porridge, I want the porridge to sit comfortably on the spoon like this. It is not pouring out easily, it is actually dropping. If I have to turn the spoon, the porridge drops and not pours. If it pours, you know the porridge is too light. But if it drops, it is the right consistency. So at the age of 6 months, all they need is about 1 to 3 teaspoons. And this is a teaspoon. 1 to 3 teaspoons of porridge like this. So you give 1, 2. You do not want to overdo it, especially between 6-7 months. You don't want to overdo it because you can cause constipation. There are babies who find it difficult to pass to because they are so full on baby porridge. Breast milk is still the primary food from 6 to about 8 months, and then you can switch where breast milk then becomes the snack after the age of 8 months. But at this stage, this is just additional. So after you've breastfed your baby very well, then you can say, oh, here, just a little spoon of porridge with breast milk if you can. Animal milk, I really recommend that you start giving animal milk after the age of 1 or somewhere there, but in that first year of life, give only breast milk. Even in mbeba, you can crush mbeba nicely there and add to the porridge. Don't think that the baby only needs food from the shops. Even in mbeba, you crush, you add there. If you allow them to cool, especially when they are crunchy. You mash and add it to porridge. To kayonga. You can use all those high protein foods and as well as other nutrients that they have that can be added and given to the baby, so that with every spoon there is nutrition. So at about the age of 8 months, your baby is now ready for the sweet foods, right? The bananas of this world, the butternut of this world, but not funny drinks. No, those drinks we discussed, I think, a few weeks ago. Please, those, no. We are not giving that. If it has to be sweet, it also has to be accompanied with nutrients. And I have actually done this experiment on my own child, where when I started complementary foods, I'll give him a lot of kapenta, which I used to add to porridge, give him shima, soft and shima with lumanda. And up to now, the boy is now like 6 years old and he loves lumanda, kapenta as well, because those are foods that he ate earlier on. So those bland foods, the vegetables, those who say, my kid doesn't love to eat vegetables, my child doesn't, just likes chicken and chips. It's because of also how we introduce them to these foods. So start with the vegetables and give a lot of different kinds of vegetables, but be patient. Don't overload them with all kinds of foods. Give or introduce one food at a time, preferably not mixed foods. So you're not giving ifisashi at the age of 6-7 months, not ifisashi. You are giving bland foods. So the way it is, give to the child. No salt, no raja, no, I don't know, whatever spices we use, just plain as it is. You crush it, mash it nicely and give the child and watch their reactions. It's usually very interesting to see. Personally, I love to see small babies being introduced to new foods because they are so, sometimes you can even read what's going on in their minds, like, oh, what is this? Others will have that, like that reaction, especially when they're given, let's say, a lemon juice. They'll have this bounce, like, oh, okay, what was that? What just hit me? So enjoy that period when you're introducing your child to other foods. Watch out for rashes as well, because it is at this stage that you also begin to see allergies that the child may have. I'll give myself as an example. My child does not like or did not like avocado, and I tried several times to introduce avocado. He finally ate 2-3 spoons and I noticed a rash. The child developed the rash around the neck, around the chest, and I knew, this probably is not a food. And up to today, the child does not eat avocado, unfortunately. But avocado is a good baby food. If your child does not react to avocado, mash it nicely and give the baby a few spoons. Don't add salt, don't add sugar, just as it is. Let them appreciate that taste. The additions on the mixing and the spicing up of the foods after the age of 8 months, then you can start giving other foods. By 9 months, they are pros now. They can handle shima, they can handle, everything else. But remember, their stomachs are small, and so they need to eat frequently in the day. You may ask yourself, how much food am I giving my child so that I know that the child is eating well? So 6 to 7 months, you breastfeed for at least, I think, some 10 to 12 times. If I have to give you a number, breastfeeding is between 8 to 12 times in the day, both day and night. You are giving breast milk as the first food, and then additional foods, like a spoon of this, like a spoon of that, a spoon of avocado, a spoon of porridge, with of course all these things we've been discussing, nutrient dense foods that you add to the porridge. And that way they are learning about other foods, what they taste like, and then you can build on their taste buds as you move on. And then the banana comes in, and I also see parents giving yogurt, for example, to babies. It is good. It is a milk product. After the age of 1, you can start giving animal milk. It's not bad, but I would say avoid the sweetened yogurts. These have or contain quite a lot of sugar. You may want to avoid this, but maybe give plain yogurt. Ngamasenda plain yogurt. Of course, I'm not saying this brand does not have plain yogurt. I couldn't find plain yogurt in this brand, but I'm sure Parmalat does have plain yogurt for this one, meaning no sugar added to it. And I tested this. It's empty because I ate it. So I tested this, and I really had to taste because I wanted to know, because sometimes they say plain yogurt, but there is some sugar or maybe even sweeteners added to it. In this one, I checked the ingredients list. It said low fat milk, milk solids, stabilizers, and yogurt cultures. There is no sugar added. There is no salt or preservatives, potassium sorbate, which has been added. Not bad. Allergen cow's milk. So you can give plain yogurt to a child, preferably above 1 year. In the 1 year, the only milk they know, in the first year rather, the only milk they know is mommy's milk. And then after 1 year, you can say, yeah, eat a bit of this, and so forth, preferably plain. And how you can sweeten this is by adding maybe even banana. You mash banana, you take a bit of plain yogurt, and you add, or even fruit like mango or peaches, which you crush nicely and you give to the baby, so that you are not giving added sugar. This one contains added sugar, and I wouldn't want our babies out there to consume sweetened yogurt. So it contains pasteurized milk, it contains fruit, of course the fruit pulp, sugar, strawberries, water, and so there is sugar in here, and sugar stabilizers, and so on and so forth. So this, maybe for a kid above 2 years or so, and again, not too often. Limit on sugar. Already, like I've said, the studies are showing that we are giving our babies too many sugary drinks, which we need to avoid. So please, let's lay off sugar and give our children real food so that they get, or they are given, the best start to life. I can't wait to read your comments in the comments section. I want us to engage because this is a very sensitive topic. Mothers out there, especially young mothers, can be confused. Like, okay, I want to give my child the best start to life. I want to do the right thing, but I do not know how. So let's discuss. If you have more questions, of course, I can't cover everything in a short space of time. So we continue engaging in the comments section. So if you have more questions, please, let's engage. I'm always available. I may not reply in good time, but I will reply because I do have a number of messages that I'm getting, and I do try to set aside a time when I'm just replying and engaging with you, and believe me, I find it so much fun. I'm also learning a lot from you. I'm building myself as a nutritionist because certain questions, not all questions that I have answers to. I have to contact colleagues in the sector. I have to also read up some more, like, okay, because nutrition literature is always changing, and so I've gotten this zeal to always learn and sieve the information for you. I know this, no, this, yes, and then I come and dish it to you. So I hope you've learned one or two things. So with that said, let's give our babies a brilliant start to life. Way to eat.